Oh, my friends, you know what time it is. It's spooky time. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Nikhil with Shelf-Esteem. I'm a composer, now also a booktuber. You can find my music in The Wheel of Time Season 2, His Dark Materials Season 3, and the newly released, and now for your Grammy consideration, The Hills of Tenchiko, the featured musical number sung by the main cast in The Wheel of Time Season 3, Episode 6. And today is a very special day, a day I've been looking forward to for months, because spooky season, October, is one of my favorite months of the year, because it's a chance to eat too much candy corn, watch horror movies, and of course read great scary books. So I compiled a list of a few books. I might not be able to get to all of them, but I am sure going to try. And some of these are read-alongs, some of these are solo reads, but as always, if you're interested in reading along, you can join our Discord and let me know, and we'll just read it together. Why not? You know, the more the merrier. What's better than reading a great book is reading it with friends, right? So if you like this kind of video, please like and subscribe. And now on to the books. So the first book I want to talk about is a book that I've been wanting to get to for a while. So been reading, kind of making my way through over the last 5 years now. It's been a long time. The Dresden Files by Jim Butcher. And I loved the first 7 books. I will say there were a couple of duds in there, but the 7th one really took off. So I've been very excited to read Proven Guilty, number 8. Now, I can't really say too much about what this is about, but if you want to know about Dresden Files as a whole, it's about a wizard who lives in Chicago. First couple books are more like pulpy detective stories with some magic in them, but really fun. And then the world starts to open up, become a lot wider. You have wizards and werewolves and vampires and factions, and it's just, the world starts to get really big. It's got a Buffy the Vampire Slayer kind of feel, you know, that late 90s, early 2000s vibe. Harry Dresden is a little misogynistic at times, and it kind of honestly grates on me a little bit. So I'm really hoping, I've seen it kind of get toned down as the series has progressed, and I hope that it continues to get toned down, because that's the one gripe I have about the series. But otherwise, it's just good fun, you know, and it's very easy to read. This book is, 466 pages. So this is the largest Dresden book I've going to be tackling so far. But I mean, it's a little pocket book, easy to read. Probably could read this in 3-4 days, right? So I'm excited to read this one and kind of see where the character goes from here. Because as I mentioned, like, something happens in the 7th book that really gives you a nice lift. I felt like the first 2 books were very similar. 3rd book had this huge thing happen that really widened everything. Then the 4th book kind of widens further. 5th book. Then the 6th book was a little bit of a step down, in my opinion. Then the 7th book suddenly takes it back up. So I'm hoping this continues that trend. But largely, this has been a pretty consistent series. So Dresden number 8 is going to be the first choice. The second choice is one that I've been very excited about because, you know, I follow Mike's book reviews a lot, and, you know, that's one of the reasons why I decided to make a booktube channel of my own and why I fell in love with reading again as an adult. And most of the things he recommends, honestly, I just love unanimously. So I've just grown to trust anything he's going to have to say about stuff. But he's been mentioning his recent love affair with Ronald Malfi. Now, I'd been wanting to read something, and I think this was the first one that he read that got him into the author. This is called Blackmouth. Now, what is it about? I'm going to read the back here for you. It seems to have like an Stephen King vibe to it, but it says, for nearly 2 decades, Jamie Warren has been running from darkness. He's haunted by a traumatic childhood and the guilt at having disappeared from his disabled brother's life. But then a series of unusual events reunites him with his estranged brother and their childhood friends, and none of them can deny the sense of fate that has seemingly drawn them back together. Nor can they deny the memories of that summer so long ago, the strange magic taught to them by an even stranger man, and the terrible act that had followed them all into adulthood. In the light of new danger, they must confront their past by facing their futures and hunting down a man who may very well be a monster. So, supernatural, adults finishing what the kids started, something bad happened when they're kids. You know, it's got that It vibe to it. And I've heard this is a fantastic author. So, you know, I'm very excited to check out my first Ronald Malfi book. And I think a few in the Discord have mentioned they want to read it too. So let's see how it all goes. But very excited to check this one out. Let me know if you're going to read along with me. Let's talk a little bit about this book. I've seen so many booktubers talk about reading this. My first Ray Bradbury book, Something Wicked This Way Comes. I've been hearing about this one for years, and I knew a guy who's since passed away, and he said that his dad had introduced him to Ray Bradbury when he was like a kid. He used to tell me stories about how great a writer he was. So from not too far degree of separation, I've been very fascinated with wanting to read something of his, and I figured what better time to read one of his books than spooky season, right? So this one I'm going to read the back here for you. For those of you who still dream and remember, for those yet to experience the hypnotic power of its dark poetry, step inside. The show is about to begin. Cougar and Dark's Pandemonium Shadow Show has come to Greentown, Illinois, to destroy every life touched by its strange and sinister mystery. The carnival rolls in sometime after midnight, ushering in Halloween a week early. A Calliope's shrill siren song beckons to all with the seductive promise of dreams and youth regained. Two boys will discover the secret of its smokes, mazes, and mirrors. Two friends who will soon know all too well the heavy cost of wishes and the stuff of nightmares. Sounds pretty amazing. I mean, there's a sinister sense of dread in this that I can already see. I wonder if Stephen King was influenced by this, right? So, if I'm running out of Stephen King books to read, then what's the best thing to do is to find these ones that might have influenced Stephen King, right? So I'm very excited to check this out. And it's short, not very long. That's the great thing about spooky season also, is the books are shorter and there's usually standalones, so you can kind of blaze through a lot more. So that's going to be really fun. Excited to check out my first Ray Bradbury. If you've read any Ray Bradbury, let me know in the comments where you started, what you would recommend as other choices if I like this one. I would love to know from you. Okay, let's talk about another book that I'm very excited about. As you can tell, I'm pretty excited about this month in general. But Nathan Towns, a fellow composer and also member of the Discord and friend of the channel, has mentioned to me that he wanted to read a non-Game of Thrones George R.R. Martin, book. Who wrote Song of Ice and Fire, which I've read and I loved, and I'm like, sign me up. And he recommended that we read Fever Dream. So Fever Dream, I believe, is like a vampire type novel. Marsh means to turn down York's offer. It is too full of secrets that spell danger. But the promise of both gold and a grand new boat that could make history crushes his resolve, coupled with the terrible force of York's mesmerizing gaze. Not until the maiden voyage of his new side-wheeler, Fever Dream, will Marsh realize he has joined a mission both sinister and noble, a mission filled with blood and darkness, yet also with hope and life, to make a new beginning between the humans of the day and the inhuman people of the night. Set in an era when slaves are bought and sold like cattle and gamblers crowd the French Quarter of New Orleans, here's the haunting tale of a vampire's quest to free his race from its bloodthirsty heritage and of corrupt and depraved bloodmaster about to unleash a reign of terror on the humans of the Mississippi Basin. So I kind of love that Southern Gothic flair. This has a kind of a historical context, vampires, and of course George R.R. Martin's amazing writing. Very excited to check this out because I wanted to see what else he's got in the tank besides, Song of Ice and Fire. So this is going to be a fun one to read. And again, very short. So it's going to be a good one, I think. I also want to talk about a continuation that I'm reading right now with Cliff from Cliff's Dark Gems. We've been buddy reading Matthew Corbett by Robert McCammon. And we're going to continue with the 6th book, Freedom of the Mask. So I'm very excited about this one because the 5th book was arguably the weakest one for me. Just didn't really compel me. A lot of it was a retread of old waters, I did feel, though, the way it ended was incredible. And it actually probably changes the whole turning point of the series. So, of course, I'm chomping at the bit to see where does Matthew Corbett's character go from here, because this is quite a startling change, I think, for him. So very excited to read that with Cliff. That's going to be the next book. And if there's time, of course, I'm reading Circle of Days by Ken Follett. Our read-along continues, so if you want to join, not too late. You know, as of this taping, book's only been out for 2 days, so feel free to join us if you'd like to. But I am also going to dip into, if I can, a Stephen King book. Not just any Stephen King book, but the sequel to The Shining that I've been putting on the back burner for years now and I've had on my shelf, and that is Dr. Sleep. So Dr. Sleep continues the story of Danny Torrance and after the events of The Shining. So I'm very excited to see how he is as an adult. And I've heard the movie by Mike Flanagan was phenomenal. So I want to do a side-by-side comparison, of course. So I'm going to read this, then I'm going to watch the movie, and then do a side-by-side, maybe a video or something like that. So that's kind of the idea. But let's see how far I get. You know, quite a few books on the schedule. But at least, you know, they're not so massive. So maybe it's possible. Maybe I'll just read twice as fast. You know, like the little baby gif with her the eyes darting back and forth, trying to read the book. But what do you have on deck for October? Let me know what you got going on. Are you going to join any of these with me? Let me know in the Discord as well. I'm Nick Hill with Shelf-Esteem. Thank you for being here. Thank you for checking out Spooky Season. And I look forward to hearing what you all are going to read. And for those Stephen King fans, if you want to watch more Stephen King content, I have a playlist here of all just Stephen King related videos. Figured it's pretty apt for Spooky Season, so feel free to check that out. I'm Nick Hill with Shelf-Esteem. Be good to yourselves, be good to each other. And as always, I will see you on the next video. Take care.